And the number one item on this list that I see people doing wrong all the time is riding in the middle of the lane. And guys, the fifth item on this list is going to be a little bit controversial. You might agree or disagree with me, but we'll find out what you think when we get there. And here's one problem that happens when you always ride in the middle of the lane. When cars are about to change lanes, they normally look on their side mirrors and not in their rear view mirrors. So if you're always riding exactly in the middle of the lane, a car might not see you. Now, most people will tell you that you should ride as if no one is looking at you anyways, as if cars can't see you anyways, but we try to make ourselves look as visible as possible. And here's a perfect example right there. He's in the absolute middle of the lane, which also means that it is extremely hard to see as far ahead as you can. We ride out here as if no one is seeing you, as if you're invisible, but it doesn't mean that you gotta try your best to be invisible. And if you're riding in the middle of the lane all the time, you can't see ahead of you. It makes it much harder for you to be able to see what's happening a few seconds in front of you, 10-20 seconds in front of you, because there's a big car blocking you, obviously. So we're staying ready for whatever can happen out here. And lane placement leads me to the second item on this list, which is not staying proactive. Not staying proactive is one of the biggest mistakes that you can make when riding a bike. You want to be ready for whatever can come your way. Over here we have dogs. In America we got deer, we got squirrels jumping all over the place. Stay ready for whatever it is that life can bring at you, or better yet, whatever the roads can bring at you. If I check my rearview mirror here and I see that there's a car coming in really fast behind me there, I'm gonna throw my bike a little bit out of the way, because there's a chance that that person is not really paying attention and he might swerve into my lane and hit me because I'm too close to the next lane. Does that make sense? And so you gotta stay proactive. Before he swerves into my lane, I'm already giving him space to do so. And another example of staying proactive out here is never riding in the blind spot of a car and always giving enough space for an emergency up there. I see riders out here, again, so-called experienced riders, who are simply tailgating cars for no reason. What's the point of tailgating a car at all? I never see the point of that, because there is none. For instance, the open lane pattern, you have these cars right here on my right who are slowing down, and one of them might just want to switch into my lane in order to go faster, right? It's kind of natural, but I'm a small object out here, so they might not even see me. And you know, there's a biker coming up behind me with a nice bike, but you know, it was hard for me to see him until he was right up on me, because he was riding too far in the left side of that lane that he was in. And now he's in the very middle of it. So you ride your ride, do as you wish. I'm only explaining to you guys what I've seen and what has helped me to stay alive and healthy in one of the worst traffics in the world. And you can watch crash videos or even near miss videos to understand the patterns of the road, and you're gonna see what people are doing more and more, and you're gonna see the mistakes that people are making out here. Dude literally just crashed right there as I'm making a video about staying ready for whatever. Hope he's doing all right. Which leads me to the third mistake I see so-called experienced riders and beginners making as well, which is not understanding how their bike will react. And what I mean by that is that you no longer go to the parking lots. You no longer think that there's more to learn. But let me tell you guys, there's always more to learn about your own bike. And again, especially if you're getting a new bike, yeah, maybe you've been riding for several years already and you know how to ride, you know how to use your clutch and your brakes, but you just got a brand new bike. Why not learn and go to a parking lot and learn how she's going to react to your inputs? Because when an emergency comes and you have to swerve out of the way really fast, you gotta know what she's gonna do. And it's better to practice in a controlled environment than it is to have to do it at the spot and not knowing exactly what's going to happen. And the bike's reaction actually leads into the fourth mistake, which is not adjusting your suspension to your weight, and also not adjusting your preload when you have a passenger or saddlebags with you. And one of the things that people just don't talk about it enough is your suspension. It took me a few months after I started riding to get the suspension adjusted, and it made such a big difference. For one, if your suspension is too soft, too bouncy, your back is going to hurt. Especially if the roads are full of bumps and whatnot. Nice Harley too. Especially if the roads are bumpy, your back is just gonna hurt after a long day of riding. So after I adjusted my suspension, my bike reacted completely different. And if you don't end up adjusting your suspension properly, you can end up bottoming out the front suspension, which leads into your front tire, taking all that pressure from the road, and you're gonna crash. I highly recommend you actually get your suspension adjusted by someone who knows what they're talking about, because you don't want to play with your suspension and end up making it worse than it was. And not to mention that a bad suspension can cause the famous speed wobble, which I'm sure you've seen a ton of YouTube videos where your front wheel here kind of goes out of control and you're going super fast on the highway, and that can cause a bad day for you. So when you go get your suspension done, or when you go get your suspension adjusted by someone who understands what they're talking about, you can also ask them to see how your suspension looking. Does it need oil? Does it need any other maintenance? It's always good to keep up with the maintenance of your bike at all times. And the fifth and last mistake that I see riders making out here is the one I see the most often, which is riders not taking care of themselves. Your biggest tool for safety is your mind. And for your mind to be efficient, your body also needs to be efficient. It's very simple. So you gotta keep yourself active out in these streets, not just riding and practicing on your bike, but keeping your body in good shape. And I'm not talking about becoming an athlete. When you're alert out here and your brain is awake at all times, then there's less chances that you're gonna make a bad reaction when an emergency time comes. And anyone who's been riding for long enough will tell you that emergency situations will come up, especially if you use a bike every single day. Your bike is not gonna react for you. The best tires in the world won't save you. So keep yourselves alert, keep yourselves alive, keep yourself healthy, and thank you for watching. Make sure to watch my other videos too. Subscribe if you like the content, and I'll see you next time, yo. Peace.